Hi everyone, this is a personal tribute to a real chess hero, a man who loves chess, a man who's given a lot of his life to chess. A modest chap, he is a fearsome tactician at the board, a great player and a great guy, and this is my personal tribute to Kingscrusher, Trifon Gabriel. Like all chess friendships, ours started at the board, and it started some 20 years ago, in fact, in 1988. Back at the time, Triff and I were both young Greek chess players playing chess in London. Triff was 3 years younger than me, and even though I hadn't played him, I was aware that he was an up-and-coming young player. So here, in this position, I was a piece up, and really cruising towards victory. I had no idea, really, that the guy opposite me was the tactical monster that was Kingscrusher in those days, and still is, actually. And here I just casually played the next move, which is Bishop d3. And oddly enough, that's a blunder, and Black's next move caused me to resign on the spot, and it's an early indication of Triff's great tactical talent. So see if you can have a pause, see if you can spot what Black played next. Yes, in this position, Black played the crushing move, Queen h6, putting his queen on pre. But this move just wins on the spot. If the white queen moves, the rook on c1 drops. If he catches the queen, it allows knight f2 mate, a smothered mate in the corner. And no matter where the queen moves to, he either drops the rook or he allows mate. A true king's crushing crush from my friend. And I guess at this point I realised that the guy that I was playing would go on to make his mark on the game, with this kind of tactical sight, a piece down, but still finds a great win. Although that defeat to Trifon was hard to take at the time, the one consolation has been that over the years I wasn't the first, and I certainly won't be the last, or haven't been the last to fall victim to his tactical skills. 5 years after that game, in 1993, he was playing at the Lloyds Bank Masters tournament, and here he had white against the strong Indian player rated 24-30, Krishnamurthy Murugan, who's now an IM, an international master. And in this position, it's Black to play. It's a very sharp position, a Sicilian game, and I think what happens in this game is typical of the way Kingscrusher beats strong players. As you can see, that there's quite a few open lines here against the Black King, but similarly, Black has his queen in the king's field, so this is a sharp game with attacking threats on both sides. And here, Black just played his next move, which was Bishop f8, which seems reasonable. Defends the g7 pawn, clears the line for the rooks. Everything seems in order. But after White's next move, Queen g5, Black must have realised that actually he's in terrible trouble here. White is just simply threatening to take the g pawn, and perhaps come in on the h file, put pressure on the g7 pawn. And in fact here, Black is already quite close to losing. He tried to fight on by playing King f7. White replied with Rook h7, bringing the rook to the 7th rank. Black played e5, trying to blunt that bishop out of the game, perhaps even, after bishop takes, sacrificing the exchange. But after bishop takes, he just brought his rook here to e6 to shore up the g6 pawn. White played Queen f4 check, and Black played King e8. Now, actually, after this move, Murugan actually resigned before White could make his next move, and I think it's a sign, for me, that certain weaknesses I have in my own game is that I'm not exactly sure why Black's immediately resigned. I need to have a really good think about it. The reason he has resigned here, and I'll just show you what the game continuation could have been, is that White is just simply threatening to take this pawn. And then what he does, he's in trouble. Obviously the bishop is attacked twice, so let's say, for example, he catches here. Then after rook takes g7, well, how does black defend against the mating threats of queen f7? If he plays, for example, rook here, then rook takes g6, and black is getting absolutely crushed. And in this position, he just resigned. Sorry, in the previous position, he just resigned, conscious of these threats. So, a great scalp for Tryphon, and that wasn't certainly the last scalp that he took in this tournament. A few years later, Tryphon was back at the Lloyds Bank tournament in London, playing black against Danny Kopeck, the international master. Here, in this position, you can see it's very sharp. White's has advanced pawns on the king side. Black has certain trumps in the centre. And here, in this position, Tryphon showed his great imagination to create threats and complications which White at the board found absolutely impossible to navigate. So here's another chance to see if you can guess what Tryphon played it in this position. Have a pause, have a think. Okay. The move chosen by black here is bishop g5. I mean, this looks ridiculous. It looks like he just put a piece on pre. But after white catches, which is what he plays, and black catches back, suddenly you'll see that the rook on f4 has no squares. What a creative idea this is. Look, I mean, that shows real imagination, how the coverage to play this against an international master. By playing this way, against strong players, Triff, increases the chances that they go wrong. The sharper the position, the more chance you'll have that the stronger player, he'll go wrong because, it's difficult for both sides. Let's have a look what happens here. Kopeck pushed his pawn to f6, and Triff took the rook on f4. White catches the pawn, so reasonable stuff, and now the black queen is attacked, so that moves to the d file, where it's nicely centralised with the rook, and maybe thinking of coming to the d4 square. And here, just to prove what I said, White gets undone by the complicated nature of this position. This is a position where you would need to calculate very clearly and very sharply. And what he played was queen h4. He looks like he's trying to deliver a mate here on h8, but he completely overlooks black's defensive idea. Queen d4 check, attacking the king and gaining a tempo. And after bishop parries the check, the black queen comes to f6. Not only does it gobble the pawn and stop the mate, but it also creates threats along the f file. So not only has material been gained, but he's attacked the queen at the same time. It's very difficult here to find a sensible continuation for White. And here, White, having made one blunder, actually just completely crumbles. He plays the move knight e7 check. It looks as if, let's look what happened. Black takes the knight. White plays bishop g5, skewering the queen and rook, picking up the rook on d8, but really the material invested is not worth what he's got back. And after black just calmly plays queen e5, he just gives the inside rook back, bishop takes on d8, and now queen d4 check again, and White resigned. The reason White resigns here is that, let's have a look. After something like, say for example, king g2, black takes on b2 with check, king comes back, recreates the threat on d4, king g2, and now simply just pushes the pawn. And it's very difficult here. White might play, for example, queen g5 check, rook g7, for White to combat the threats of the pawn push and the mating threats against his king. An absolutely crushing finish to this game. White blundered once and then he blundered again. The impact of Triff's move, bishop g5, created such a shock for the stronger player that he just seemed completely disorientated. And that's the way in which Triff has beaten strong players over the years. Create complications and then you can duff anybody up. The reason I put this video together today is that, the Kingscrusher is about to have a short break, a much earned break. The man behind Let'sPlayChess.com and the Kingscrusher videos on YouTube is off to the British Championships next week to try his hand with the strongest players in the UK. It's a first for him, and I want to wish him well, and I want him to remember his great abilities, and I hope the people on YouTube give him plenty of encouragement, because what I'd like to see next week is the Kingscrusher crushing kings in this style. Good luck, Triff, and I hope the force is with you.